So I got a request from my subscriber Rayos86 to do something simple like a lawnmower, which I oddly enough have been wanting to do anyway, so this was a perfect excuse and a simple example of how to build something with Unreal. So when creating a model, my choice is going to be Blender. If the object is more complicated than something I can draw, which is going to be almost anything, I will pull in references. Doesn't need to be perfect, just 1 to 2 angles for some simple objects is more than enough. Just click the Add button below the Layout tab at the top, go to Image, then Reference. Add all your reference images, then adjust your reference images if you have more than one of them so that they're roughly all the same size. Next, what I typically do is look for what basic shapes I can use to accomplish the object that I'm trying to model. I've been in the habit of mirroring all my objects, even for blocking out, so that they're ready for when I do go to improve the look of it later. So if you are curious why I'm mirroring a box just be a bigger box, that is why. Now, all you are doing is flipping back and forward between the front and side views and dragging all your shapes to the approximate size. So just selecting vertices and pressing G to grab, while in the front or side view will guarantee it only moves in those 2 axes at a time as you drag it around. So just doing this over and over, nothing special is really going on. You can see the keys I'm pressing at the bottom left. For the base here, I am doing a combination of G for grab and S for scale. If you press G or S, you can then press X, Y, or Z to lock the scaling or the moving to that axis only, which is pretty helpful. Then I am pressing the numpads 1 and 3 to keep flipping between the front and side views. To copy and paste the boxes around, I am pressing Shift and D to duplicate. That really just lets me create another box with a mirror modifier already on it instead of creating a new mesh cube every time. For the wheels, I just created a cylinder and rotated it to the side, added a mirror modifier on the Y and Z axis, and spaced the wheel out on the front and side views to get the right symmetry. That way when I come back to edit this wheel later, I just have to do it once. The mirror modifier is going to reflect across the object's origin, so make sure you are in edit mode when you're moving the wheel around to get it in place. A simple way to move between object and edit mode is just to press tab. Lastly, for the handle, if you see any pipe-like shape or object, it has been easiest for me to just use like a path tool. I tried to use the Bezier, but it wasn't behaving like I thought it would. So I swapped to a path, and that seemed to work out much better. For the path, you can swap to edit mode to see the different vertices. You can then press G as usual to grab and move them, or you can press E to extrude, which in this case just creates a new vertex for you to use. My reference images didn't quite line up here with the handle, but I just did an approximation to get something close. So same thing here, adding a mirror modifier, so I only need to work on one half of the object. And then after you've got the general look of where you want it to be, you can go into the edit the path settings, and then you can add geometry. By path settings, I mean this little green curve tab here on the right. And under the settings, under round, you'll see depth. If you increase that, it will turn the path into more of a pipe or tube-like object. To finish things off, I go back to each object and apply a material to each and assign them a color to match the reference. Make sure you are viewing your object with material preview by clicking the option in the top right, otherwise you won't see any changes. If you want to reuse a material on another object, just select it from the drop down here, which isn't very obvious, at least to me it wasn't. You can also adjust the metallic and roughness settings if you want, but that isn't too important at this step. This should be more than enough to serve as a placeholder for now, and we can move on to adding gameplay mechanics in the next video. Once I am happy with the gameplay, I will return to this model and refine it to look a little bit closer to the reference image.